Good morning, traders, and welcome to PremarketInfo.com. We've got a packed show here for you today. Citigroup just reported earnings here a few minutes ago. Stock getting a little bit of lift here in the pre-market. Visa and MasterCard settle a 7-year lawsuit with retail merchants, and those stocks are getting a lift as well. Will this S&P rally from Friday continue on this week? And we'll also highlight a lot of stocks that have earnings reporting tomorrow. Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson, Coke, Intel, and Yahoo, just some of the names that are reporting tomorrow. I'm going to be flying solo this week. Joel's getting a little bit of R&R, so he'll be back with us next week, so you're stuck with me. Citigroup, 27.25 is where it's trading at in the pre-market. Got as low when it reported right at 8 o'clock at 26.32, but a little bit light on the retail, but the bottom line number, they made a buck, beating, and the estimates were at 89 cents. So it is a beat. Stock is lifting now in the pre-market. 27.22, 27.24 is where it's trading at right now. I'd keep an eye on this $28 level. If this rally continues, we topped out there at 27.93 back on July the 2nd. We also topped out just the next day at 27.77. And after that was 27.62. So once you start to get into these high 27s, we do find a little bit of resistance here. So I'd keep an eye on that whole number, 28 bucks. Maybe you find some high frequency sellers just below that $28 level. Some of your other banks are moving here this morning. Wells Fargo trading up just a little bit here over this 34 key number. Stern AG upgrading the stock this morning, trying to give it a lift above this $34. We have talked about the huge institutional selling pressure here at 34. That still exists. Obviously, there's a huge institutional selling pressure on the NYSE, which that liquidity becomes active at 9:30. So it'll be interesting to see if it can actually open above there or not. I'm seeing over 400,000 shares there in the book at 34. So that's going to be thick. It's trading right there, just above there right now at 34.04. If it opens below there with the upgrade, wouldn't surprise me if it took out that size early and then started to make a run. You've got a high if you go back at 34.30, but I'm looking more up here at this 52-week high, 34.59. That could be on the radar today if the Citigroup earnings continue to give this a little bit of a push higher, and if the upgrade can obviously push it through that institutional size at 34. So keep an eye on that level. That 34 level is going to be critical in the opening couple of minutes. I do think it could take it out and move higher, though. Got a lot of other financials that are going to be reporting, but first, want to just talk about Visa and MasterCard. Both of those stocks making, while Visa's making a new 52-week high here this morning, trading 128.50. MasterCard's a little bit shy off its 52-week high, but is trading at 443, which is up over $14 here in the pre-market. Both of these stocks getting a lift on settlement news, which came out late Friday, just after the close, around an hour after the close on Friday, was announced that they were going to settle with retail merchants there. $7.25 billion settlement over the fixing of credit and debit card fees. This original lawsuits were filed back in 2005, so this has been going on for 7 years. Probably concerns, this was like a cloud just hanging over the company just a little bit, and now that that has lifted, these stocks are getting a lift here as well. So I think that the settlement, they're happy to see that the shareholders and the stocks are moving higher. Visa's high here just from a few 2 weeks ago was 127.47. If it does open above there, 128.50, that would be a new 52-week high for Visa. MasterCard not quite near its 52-week high, which was set back in late April when it got up to as much as, just grab that for you, 466.98. So we are still about 20 bucks off of that. But if you look here, it's a nice critical level, double top of 445. We had high on July the 5th at 445, and we also had a matching high, well, just 445.25, so 25 cents higher on July the 6th. If the stock continues its rally, maybe that area gives it a little bit of a stopping point, but above that, stock would be in further breakout mode because there's not a heck of a lot above those levels. So be really careful. If you're picking a short there, give yourself a tight stop because that is a really tight level. That is a really, there's not a lot above there. 454.77 is the next real reference point. So if it starts to trade 446, could easily move up 3-4 points on you in a hurry. So be careful if you're trading that. American Express actually trading just up a little bit on here. Just wondering if it's getting a little bit of sympathy move with the MasterCard Visa, because the S&Ps are down 4.5 points here, and American Express is trading up about 30 cents. 58.25, just a 400 shares of trade here in the pre-market, so not a lot of volume. So it'll be interesting to see if it can get a little bit of sympathy move with the MasterCard Visa up move here. Do have some other ones in the news. ExxonMobil getting a downgrade at Deutsche Bank. That stock is trading down here in the pre-market, just about 50 cents. 84.96 right now after closing at 85.47. We were talking about ExxonMobil. Had a pretty good week last week. When the market was going down earlier the week, it was not. And then on Friday, it participated and was very strong into the close. 85.57 was the high, closing at 85.47. I think you could find some buyers here. You get into these low 84s, you start to find some consolidation area. And if people were nervous about when the stock broke out, if they got caught short, this is kind of giving them an opportunity to cover. So wouldn't surprise me if you do find some support for this stock in the 84 handle. Did want to highlight a few stocks that are reporting tomorrow. Goldman Sachs is going to report earnings here tomorrow morning. Stock is trading just down a bit here with the overall market. 97.12 is where it's trading at right now after closing at 97.43. We've had nice consolidation all last week in the low 93s. 93.15, 93.23, 93.67 low. So this whole 93 area is giving it, and now we've broken out. Friday was a key breakout day. So again, I think you're going to find buyers in the pullbacks here. If this stock even sniffs down to the 95 handle, I think you will find some buyers. Obviously, the earnings are going to dictate where the stock moves tomorrow, but wouldn't surprise me if the Citigroup can continue to be strong here in the pre-market, if Goldman Sachs finds some buyers as well. Another financial that's going to be reporting tomorrow is Comerica, CMA. Not one we talk a lot about on the show. No trades here to report in the pre-market, but just wanted to highlight a nice area where you've got almost this quadruple bottom thing happening here. From the last 4 days, the lows were 29.81, 29.89, 29.89, and then on Friday we bottomed at 29.95. So you have major support here just below the 30 handle, around 29, call the whole area 29.80. I'd say you've got really nice support there. Obviously, what happens tomorrow with the stock is going to dictate where it moves, but just keep an eye on that for support here. If it pulls back today, I think you'll find some buyers. Obviously, if the earnings aren't that volatile there tomorrow, that could give you some support as well. So keep an eye on this potential quadruple bottom here in the 29.80 area on Comerica. Some other ones we do talk a lot about on the show is Johnson & Johnson, and it's set to report tomorrow as well. Got a nice lift on Friday above that critical resistance level we had been talking about, where we had 5 highs and within 7 days in that 68.15 area, but we broke out and took off on Friday. I'll bring you up the Friday chart here. We can just see where we had the 68.15. We just took off, made a high around 68.74, which is interesting, just under some institutional selling pressure at 68.75. So this high frequency guy is putting a lid on it at 68.74, stepping in front of the size that they've seen at 68.75. If it can nibble its way through there, you'll find more size at 69, so you'll probably find some more high frequency resistance in the 68.90s. Another stock set to report tomorrow is Coca-Cola. Coke is trading just flat right now here, 77.28 on only 700 shares in the pre-market. So not a lot of action here ahead of the report. So tomorrow morning it will report. I'd keep an eye on that 78 level here today. The whole numbers always come into play, and obviously after the earnings report tomorrow, 79.36 being your high here from July the 3rd, that area could give you some resistance as well. And you can always expect the whole numbers. So $80 being such a big whole number, and that's the first time we've seen $80. Just going out to the monthlies here. Well, that's the first time in years, so I'm not sure if that's an all-time high, but it's a 7-year high. So I'd keep an eye if the stock starts to continue to rally after the report tomorrow. $80 would be huge on that thing. Intel will report after the bell tomorrow. That stock actually hasn't had a real nice time here over the last couple of months. Had a nice run up earlier in the year, got above 29, sold off in May, June, got a bit of a rally in middle of June, but then sold off again late June, and obviously it's come down here significantly here in July. We bottomed out just 2 days ago at I'm just trying to grab the low there for you, 24.68, and then yesterday we bottomed at 24.76. So on a pullback, and I'd expect that whole area to give you some support as you got that potential double bottom here. Wouldn't surprise me though, sometimes these stocks like to run up ahead of the report. You've obviously got today's trading session and you have tomorrow's trading session before it reports. So don't be shocked if you do get a little bit of a lift heading into that report. TD Ameritrade is going to report tomorrow as well. It's always a good dictator to see how the retail trader is performing overall and if they're in the market or not. When TD Ameritrade's profits go down, it kind of tells you that overall trading, it can be an indicator for overall trading volumes. 1636 hasn't had any trades in the pre-market. That is going to report tomorrow though. I'd keep a eye on this whole $16 level, pretty critical for it. And you do have some resistance up here, 1, 2, 3, 4 highs just over 17, 1714, 1708. And 1720. So just above 17 you do have some resistance on that one as well. Overall here, market is just trading down just a little bit here in the pre-market. We are down 4.5 points on our weekly outlook. We were highlighting this channel. The channel still does exist. Was violated a bit on Thursday with that sell-off. Got down to as low as 13.1975, but wasn't down there very long and popped straight up obviously Thursday afternoon and Friday. So I would say this channel is still overall intact. I would keep an eye on this 1342.50 level. We bottomed out there a few times earlier in the week and then even in the week prior to that. I think that's going to be a big number here for the S&P. So if we continue to pull back, there's not a heck of a lot until you get to this whole 1342 area. Wouldn't surprise me if we find some support there. If we can get above Friday's high at 1353.25, we could be off to the races as there's not a heck of a lot of resistance up until you get to 1364. So be cognizant of this channel that is here, and on pullbacks I think just keep an eye on those levels that I just mentioned. Well, that's our show for this morning. We're going to have lots of earnings for you tomorrow, so I will be back with you tomorrow morning. Have a good trading day.